Top of the news at 5:30 is our final Ask the Mayor segment with Chris Scanlon tonight.
Mayor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's start with a topic that we have covered many times here. Let's talk about city finances and specifically the ongoing rift between the city administration and the city controller. Where do things stand now? Is it still tied up in the courts?
It is still tied up in the courts, hoping for an end to that sometime in February. That's the indication that we've received so far. So hopefully that will come to an end. We can put that behind us. You know, as I've said all along, this has been a very unfortunate situation. You know, we basically missed out on an entire construction season because of this. Now you have roads, buildings, other infrastructure that need even more, that much more work, cultural institutions that are looking for money. So now we've got to play a little bit of catch up once the court decision is made, which I believe will go in our favor. But again, very unfortunate that it has had to go on this long.
Have you spoken to Barbara Miller-Williams since all of this started? Have you seen her at City Hall?
Yeah, our team's in constant communication with the controller and her team. But unfortunately, the controller and her team feel that they have more authority when it comes to the capital process than is given to them via the charter. I think that is, and I've stated this all along, it is very clearly stated within the charter. And that's why we felt we could get creative and use some different borrowing techniques to bring more money into the city of Buffalo to address the needs that we have.
Why do you think there is such disparity between what the controller believes is the city's deficit or in its debt, or versus what you believe is in the city's debt?
Well,
we're talking about $20–30 million difference.
Yeah, I would say it's not what one believes versus what someone else believes. It's what it is, right? And the only number that matters when it comes to the city of Buffalo's finances when you're talking about a deficit is the year-end number from the city's officially audited financials. And for the closeout of the previous year, it's $14 million. And I know the controller and her deputy controller have stated there's a true operational deficit of $54 million. That is not accurate. They are cherry-picking numbers, what I believe is to bolster their argument when it comes to the capital litigation. But that is not the situation. I can tell you a couple of weeks after I assumed the office of mayor, the year 23-24 closed out with a $31 million deficit, and we were facing a $17 million shortfall. Fast forward a year later, we closed with a $14 million deficit, and we're projecting a $2 million shortfall. So we are absolutely headed in the right direction, and I would be remiss if I did not mention that is in large part to the tremendous work that Commissioner Ray Nosworthy and his team have done.
All right. Earlier this week, some good news here. You detailed crime rates have gone down significantly. Homicides were down 29% over last year. Robberies, vehicle thefts also down over last year. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, the tremendous work of the men and women of the Buffalo Police Department, particularly Commissioner Al Wright and the Deputy Commissioners Pat Overdorf and Joe Fahey, the tremendous work that they've done implementing some new initiatives, in particular the Foot Patrol Integration Unit. You know, if you talk to residents, business owners, other stakeholders, they are thrilled to see officers out in the community engaging with stakeholders, with residents. They feel safer. And again, the only thing better than the perception of safety is actual safety. And you're now seeing actual safety. You know, homicide rates down 29% from last year, 51% from the 5-year average. Again, motor vehicle thefts down 26% despite being up across the country. And then robbery, larceny, all these other stats all down from last year.
Progress is certainly being made according to these numbers. We are in a transition period right now. The Sean Ryan administration takes over on January 1st. You go back to the council. Will you encourage the Sean Ryan administration to continue the policing that has worked, the tactics like the community policing, getting officers out on the streets, those kinds of things? Or do you expect it already to automatically just kind of continue?
I would not only encourage it to continue, I would encourage them to bolster it. You know, I think the fact that our officers are out and present is a deterrent. And I think if you continue to do that, I think you'll only see those numbers go down. And, you know, I've had people ask me this week about the cost associated with it. But I think what's more important is the end result. And that's what you're seeing with these crime numbers plummeting.
I'm talking about some buildings that have been in disrepair that we've talked about for years on end now. The Buffalo Grand Hotel. There's an Allentown residence on St. Louis Place. You have started, the city has started the process of seizing those buildings. Where are we at with both of them?
Yeah, so what we cannot do as a municipality is continue to let property owners let properties fall into disrepair and create blight and unsafe conditions in our neighborhoods. And the two properties you mentioned, the Buffalo Grand is at the gateway to downtown Buffalo.
Yeah.
And it's 450, 500 hotel rooms that we desperately need online to attract conferences and things like that here to Buffalo. So we have initiated abandonment proceedings on that property that is now in the court process. When it comes to 2 St. Louis, a property that has been a thorn in the side of the residents of that community for years, the city of Buffalo now has ownership of that property. We filed a deed with the city or the county and received that paperwork back yesterday. We will very quickly turn that property around, put it on the MLS, and try and put it in the hands of a responsible owner who will make that a contributing property to that wonderful neighborhood.
Great.
Relative to the city's finances when it comes to the former Adams Mark Hotel, now Buffalo Grand, is there any financial danger for the city or financial risk by taking ownership of that property that is in bad shape? I mean, you obviously want to get it off the rolls and back on the tax rolls as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think that with both scenarios and whatever tools we might continue to use to go down this path with other properties, there's obviously some upfront costs, but you can get it back on the back end on the sale. And another property that we're looking at right now is 2 Templeton Place, where Templeton Landing is. This is a property that has been leased out by the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency to that operator for more than 2 decades. But at this point, they're supposed to take over ownership. We were supposed to transfer the deed, but I don't believe that they've met the stipulations of that agreement. As a continuously operated restaurant, if anyone walks down there at any time, that restaurant is not open. So I don't think we should be transferring that deed to that operator. That is too valuable a property when it comes to the development and the continued progress along our waterfront. So we need to make sure we retain ownership of that property and make sure we do something positive with it.
I want to end this with thanking you because you came in here right off the bat. You agreed to meet with us every single month, and you did so, and you agreed to be transparent, and I believe you really have been transparent with us, so I appreciate that. As you head back into the Common Council, you have about 2 years left on that term. Do you plan on fulfilling that?
Yeah, as of right now, I don't have any other plans. I've heard plenty of rumors. But
we have as well.
Yeah, over the course of the past few months, I've heard plenty of rumors. I've certainly had conversations. I've had people approach me about other possibilities. But at this point, the plan is to go back to the Common Council and continue to represent people of the city of Buffalo and move the city of Buffalo forward, because I think our best days are still directly ahead of us.
We appreciate it, Chris. We appreciate your willingness.
Yeah, thank you both for your professionalism and always having me here.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.